All right, so first up, recently the UFC Twitter account actually leaked that Conor versus Dustin is actually going to be for the belt. So, uh, what do you think about that, Nas?
It's crazy because in one of my previous podcasts, I talked about how Khabib Nurmagomedov, if he's eventually going to give up this belt, the way that this occurred was, I think it was like a bot or something, was replying to someone on Twitter. And what this bot actually said was, are you excited for Conor versus Dustin for the belt? That might be a mistake, but let's say it's not. Let's say it is actually what's going to happen. Man, that changes the whole picture for the 155-pound division. We're talking about a reorg that's going to shake all of MMA, to be honest with you. Because whoever wins, be it Dustin or Conor, I think there's two different situations that happen. Now, let's say this Twitter thing is for real. Let's say Conor McGregor beats Dustin Poirier. Then we have a whole list of people that he can fight. We got Justin Gaethje, we got Michael Chandler, and Dan Hooker also fighting on the same card as him, who could contend for that belt. But let's say it's Dustin Poirier. I think, and this is where Conor McGregor's strategic mind comes in, is that the fact is, if Conor loses, I think that calls for an immediate rematch. That's what Conor's going to ask for, but we might not get that. We might actually get Conor and Dustin fight later on. Who knows what happens? But I think that they need to fight again. Because like we all know, these guys already fought once. And Conor beat him in the first round. Like, definitely. Dustin put up a great fight at the beginning, but it was a very clean knockout to the top of the head where Dustin dropped, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that leads me to believe that if this is for the belt, those are the two kind of narratives that I see. I either see Dustin winning and having to fight McGregor again, and then we see what happens, or we see that Conor wins and he fights the rest of the roster, or the rest of the people underneath him, like I mentioned before. Now, here's the thing. Either way, if this is for the belt, I think that Conor McGregor is still going to have his season. Now, be it he wanted his season to be in 2020, but he'll just have it in 2021. It gives him a nice little, what would you say, like a ramp, a jumping off point. But Dana White did have a live chat with Laura Sanko for the ESPN Plus members. And in that chat, Dana White mentioned that the fight would be for the number one contender spot. It might be in that interview or somewhere, but Dana White did say at one point that it might be for the number one contender spot. Because he's having the meeting with Khabib Nurmagomedov. And he says that he'll be able to convince Khabib to come back and fight. Now, if Khabib's coming back, then that throws a monkey wrench into what we just talked about, obviously. Khabib retains the belt, and he fights the winner of Dustin and Conor. And I don't see any way that this could get mixed up, because that's for the number one contender spot. Dustin already beat Gaethje, and Gaethje just lost. And if Dustin can beat Conor McGregor, then that's a really good way to get back into title contention. And if Conor wins, then we all know the narrative there. I think that Conor McGregor will fight for the belt again if he's the number one contender. But like Nibs was saying, this could be for the belt itself, which is really exciting for both fighters and is an amazing opportunity. I mean, Dustin Poirier, I was listening to an interview, and he said he wanted to etch his name into the history books. Right now, in his opinion, he's knocking on the door, but he wants to have a page in the book. I mean, I think he already has a page in that book, but this is just to cement it there. Let's move on. Nibs, what's the next topic?